Here we go. Got to be professional here, people.
Who are those guys? The Ghost Bros?
The Ghost Brothers.
Ghost Brothers.
Well, here's the headline here. UFO expert warns that Antarctica ice station probes could awaken ancient evil.
Do they keep going up?
That's the final one. That's the final level right there. I tried to find more levels, and that's all I got. So this is a UFO expert, Billy Carson. You might know him. He's been on a multitude of different podcasts concerning UFOs, also ancient aliens. I would say when it comes to ufology and like ancient civilization, he's done his research about some of the stuff, but he has some opinions about what people shouldn't be doing down in Antarctica. So an outspoken UFO enthusiast has warned against scientific research in Antarctica. Billy Carson, who is a paranormal researcher, said that physicists probing into the area could awaken an ancient evil that exists beyond the ice.
Oh, no.
Carson claims that American astronaut Buzz Aldrin has identified a malignant threat that lives concealed within the ice. In an interview with podcaster named Sean Ryan, he described an alleged pyramid that exists in the continent's Ellsworth Mountains. So that image from Buzz Aldrin, I'll see if I can bring it up on screen here. This was posted to Twitter some time ago, but then, according to local lore, was quickly deleted, and Buzz took this down. Now, what currently exists is just rather, I would say, low-quality image. I had to get this as a screenshot. This is a screenshot of a screenshot. So what is up on screen right here is a supposed tweet from Buzz Aldrin, and it says, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself." And what is pictured here is a supposed pyramid, or at least a pyramid-like structure on Antarctica, or in Antarctica. And this is what Billy Carson is talking about. Carson said that the pyramid, which appeared in a NASA photo, confirmed that we are all in danger. It is evil itself. Despite many people refuting the theory, the UFO fanatic is adamant about its veracity. Astronaut Aldrin, who walked on the moon's surface in 1969, visited the South Pole in 2016, but had to be evacuated after a medical emergency. Carson said that the moonwalker went to the frozen continent to meet with world leaders, but became terrified by the ultimate evil. The majority of scientists agree that the pyramid-shaped mountain in Antarctica is natural and honed by nature. However, Carson claims that it was crafted by neither humans or other intelligent life forms when well, that doesn't make sense. So Carson claims it was crafted by either humans or another intelligent life form when the area was tropical. Quote, one of the pyramids is 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. He said this pyramid, according to Carson, is not the only example of a structure that predates what many people accept as the beginning of human civilization. So he goes on to say, look at Bosnia in Europe. It's massive. There are tunnels underneath that are connecting pyramids. But in just one tunnel, they found this giant chisolum. He claimed it's a 2K megalith. And so, yeah, it goes on and on. So he's claiming that there is a pyramid definitely in Antarctica. People like Graham Hancock have speculated that Antarctica could really have been Atlantis, and because of crust displacement theory, that it rapidly was moved to the South Pole during a giant cataclysm. And now, there have been many, many different theories about Antarctica, ranging that there is a secret archaeological dig currently going on, and they're excavating ancient relics deep below the ice. And this is one of the reasons why Hitler was so curious about Antarctica when they went down there during World War II, during their expeditions, and that Hitler discovered some secret technology down there. And I think a lot of our listeners...
I thought that's because it was the gateway to New Schwabenland or whatever.
Well, that's what Admiral Byrd... That's what they said. The Germans discovered that there was some hollow earth entrance to through Antarctica, and they discovered a whole different realm below Antarctica itself, and they established a base, and they continued to operate out of Antarctica for a good chunk of time until Admiral Byrd showed up with Operation High Jump. That didn't go very well for Admiral Byrd, but Admiral Byrd did report back that there is Antarctica is much more than just a land of ice and penguins, that there is a whole nother land down there. Now, whether or not what we went over on the show when it relates to Admiral Byrd's diary, if that's all correct, that's all speculation. There's no verification whether or not Admiral Byrd actually wrote a diary. It was just interesting to hear what Admiral Byrd may have jotted down in his notes when he flew over Antarctica. But there have been some recent whistleblowers. I was listening to Linda Moulton Howell, who is kind of hit or miss for me. I don't trust everything she puts out. But for some reason, I started listening to this whistleblower she had on about Antarctica. And I guess it's the way this guy was delivering what he claimed to have witnessed down in Antarctica. Now, he claims to be an engineer as part of a flight crew whose primary mission was to drop off scientists, pick up scientists, and move and transport equipment from point A to point B. And
pick up and drop off.
Yeah, he's an import exporter, pretty much. You know, he does it both. And so he was an engineer, part of a flight crew, and he's this guy who was talking to Linda Moulton Howell. He seemed like an intelligent guy. He didn't seem like he was just making stuff up. Now, I'm not a pilot, as everyone knows, so I could easily be fooled. But in this first clip that I'll play, he is talking about that they were sent on a mission, a medical pickup. There was somebody that was injured in Antarctica, and so they're stationed there, and they had to fly over this area. And they didn't realize that they were about ready to fly over a no-fly zone until they looked at the maps. And they decided to say, to hell with the no-fly zone. This medical pickup is very urgent. We have to get there. And the reason stated for the no-fly zone is that it was an air sampling station, and that they were up there about 20,000 feet. They had no inkling that the exhaust from their airplane would impact air quality measurements 20,000 feet below. So they decided to risk it and go through the no-fly zone. So here's them talking about this.
That this was the no-fly zone because it was labeled as a air sampling station, and that we weren't to fly over it. So as a crew, we decided as a crew that we would take that direct route to Davis instead of deviating 20 miles around that air sampling, which is approximately what they required us to do if we were to have to go in that direction. And so we decided to fly right over it. So we took off out of Pole. Now remember, the altitude at South Pole is somewhere between 11,000 and 12,000 feet. So we were climbing at full fuel load out of South Pole, and we were going to be climbing to about 25,000 feet for our first altitude. And then as we burned off fuel, we would become lighter, and we were able to climb higher, which also allows us to get better fuel efficiency out of our engines and extend our range a little bit. So we were taking off and we were climbing, and about 5 to 10 miles out, somebody decided to look out the window instead of looking at their instruments and the radar the navigator does. And somebody said, "Hey, there's this big dark spot out here." And so we ended up flying not directly over it, but somewhat offset so that we could look out the left side of the aircraft. And it was down at about a 45-degree angle. And there was this large opening in the ice where this air sampling station was supposed to be. So we kept on going and made our flight.
Just a second, Brian, because
Okay.
I remember asking you in our interview, how big do you estimate it was, and did it look like it was somewhat structured?
Well, I estimated that you could have at least flown one of our aircraft into it. So the wingspan of our aircraft is somewhere around 135, 138 feet wide. So it would have had to have been large enough to accommodate that wingspan, but it was probably more of the size of a football field.
So he went on to say that they landed down, they picked up the guy, the scientist who needed medical attention, and flew him back. Now, as they were flying back, they were told by the people that you are going to have to deviate around that no-fly zone. They asked them how they came in. They told them they flew over the no-fly zone. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to take that route on the way back. You're going to have to fly around it. So they had to spend more time flying around. So they landed down, unloaded that injured person, and they were taken aside a few moments later to be talked to.
And we had to go back into operations, or the Puzzle Palace, as we call it. And we were told that the crew had to wait here instead of doing the normal debrief with our operations guy and then going back to get something to eat and do whatever, and then start going into crew rest for our next mission. So we were told to wait in the conference room. So we all went in the conference room, and we sat down, and about 5-10 minutes later, this gentleman walked in that nobody knew, wasn't part of the squadron, but he was dressed in the regular green fatigues that everybody wore down there when they weren't on flight status. And he came in, had his park on, his stocking cap on, and came in, sat down, and took his jacket off and everything, and was kind of looking at all of us. And he says, "Okay, so you guys went through the no-fly zone north of Pole and violated that airspace restriction." And our aircraft commander says, "Yeah, we did. We thought it was prudent that we not waste any time and shave some time off our flight time to get to the medevac that was at Davis. We were told it was important and not to waste any time. So we made the decision to fly over that air sampling station." Again, like we were talking earlier, is that there was no reason why we would have to not fly over that, because we were going to be so high up that our exhaust off the engines wouldn't have mattered. The gentleman basically kind of looked around at all of us sitting at the table and looked at each one of us, and he said, "Okay, gentlemen, what you saw, you did not see. You were not over that area, and you will not ever talk about this again." Okay, and that's all he said. There was no repercussions or any threat like, okay, and if you do talk about it, this or this is going to happen. Okay, and we all sat there kind of dumbfounded. It's like, okay, all right. So what did we see? So none of us thought anything of it other than this big hole in the ground.
So that happened, I think, in the early 90s to him. Now, he was working down there for quite a while. He did say like 5 years later, there was another peculiar mission that he was on. And this one was, he said, equally as curious. So typically when he stated, typically when they would drop off a team of scientists to go out into the field to do research, you drop them off for about 30 days, about 4 weeks. And very rarely would you pick them up any sooner than that, because there is so much effort to get them out there. They have all their equipment that coming back early is just not practical, cost effective, unless it's some sort of emergency. Well, they dropped off a team of scientists, and about 2 weeks into it, they got a call to come pick them up. Well, they went out to go pick up the scientists, but they could not find anyone. All the structures that were there, they were all empty. They looked around, they radioed back, and they just headed back to base. They waited around for another week. Then they got a call again. The scientists were there, and they were ready to be picked up. And this is his story about that.
Now, their project was supposed to be almost a month out there, and this was only 3 weeks in. So understanding that these scientists, when they go out into the field, they're going to use every last minute of their allotted time because that's their project, that's their science. So they wouldn't want to come back early. So we flew out there, did the circle around the camp, and we saw people now on the ice by the buildings. And they had all of their equipment. Other than the buildings, they had all their equipment, their snowmobiles, their science equipment was all packed up on a pallet and ready for us to pick it up. So we landed and taxied up, and my loadmaster opened up the back end and lowered the ramp down, and they didn't even wait for the cargo to be loaded, because normally the cargo gets loaded first and then we bring the passengers on. They all, approximately 15 of them, just basically moved as quick as they could onto the aircraft and sat down in the seats. We loaded the equipment after. We pulled the pallet that had all the snowmobiles and their equipment on, and closed up the aircraft. And at
that point, Brian, you and the crew were so baffled because not one of those scientists that had been missing would talk to any of you, right? Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. We loaded up the aircraft. Of course, at that time, now operations, okay, you have to understand, there wasn't really a lot of time for small talk or finding out anything at times. So nobody talked to the scientists until we got airborne again. So we got airborne and were on our way back to McMurdo, and that's when my loadmaster pressed his intercom and said, "Hey, engineer, can you come back here for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be right back." So I got out of my seat and went back there, and he said, my loadmaster looked at me and he said, "None of these people will talk to me. I mean, I'm offering them food and coffee, and they're either looking down at the floor at their feet, or they're looking at me and they've got this frightened look on their face." I said, "Really? Okay." So I said, "I'll talk to them." So I went back. And one of the guys, he was kind of looking at me, he was watching me walk back in there, and he was, basically keeping his eyes on me. So I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you okay?" And he didn't say anything. He just looked at me, and his eyes were like wide as, they could be. And I says, "So where were you guys at? I mean, you guys were gone. And we went over and tried to find you, and you guys weren't there." And I said, "What happened?" And he wouldn't say anything. None of them would say a single word to us. I mean, my loadmaster on the way back, I went back up to my seat and got strapped in, and my loadmaster continued to try and find out, talking to different people, trying to find out what went on, and none of them would say anything, but they all had that frightened look on their face. So we landed back in McMurdo. The pallet got offloaded, and now that I've been thinking about this for a while, the pallet got offloaded, and as you remember, I said, they were the first ones on. They were in a hurry to get on the aircraft. But when we got back to McMurdo, they weren't in a hurry to get off the airplane. In fact, I actually had, well, not me, but my loadmaster actually had to get them up and going and say, go over, your ride's over there, and kind of shuffle them out of the airplane because they weren't going on their own.
You wanted to say the whatever that equipment was that they were hauling, it was taken to a secure area and left there, and then an airplane came by, and that was the only cargo that was loaded onto the airplane, and it took off somewhere. And then a little time later, he and his flight crew were taken into a room. Two guys walked in and told him that you didn't see anything, you didn't pick up any scientists, this event did not happen, which he found to be curious because it was just scientists. Yeah, they were traumatized. He said to him, it looked like they were scared to death, like they were traumatized in some way. Or maybe they didn't know how to speak the language. Who knows? Just some fascinating little tidbits considering what Billy Carson just really recently came out and said about there is evil in Antarctica and we shouldn't be sticking our noses there. So what are some of the conspiracy theories in regards to Antarctica? Well, there's a ton, right, Cratchit? There's a shit ton. Like what's going on there?
There's only one. Come on.
Well, what do you mean there's only one? There's tons.
What, that Antarctica, that's where everyone has to go before they leave office so they can shake hands with the Hollow Earth demons?
Something like that. Well, I think it's before you really start doing stuff. You got to shake hands with the Lord of the Underrealm. Remember
Steve.
And I think it was 2016 or 2017. We did a show where we read a story that the Pope went down there, John Kerry went down there,
yep.
Vladimir Putin went down there. A lot of people went down there. So there's a lot of different theories about what might be going on down there. I'll read through. I got a list. I know people love lists. So here's a list of theories about what Antarctica could be all about. And here we go. Number one, there's a Nazi base there with advanced unconventional weapons where allegedly Adolf Hitler escaped to. New Schwabenland was explored by the Nazis in the early 1930s, and that they established a base there. They discovered old technology and an entrance to inner Earth, and that they maintained a presence there and still maintain some sort of presence there. Number two, there is an alien base there with advanced technology.
It's the same one you just read. They just changed
the first one was a Nazi base. The second
they changed one word.
Well, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a different theory, though, with a twist.
Next one's okay. There's a monkey base there with advanced technology.
Number three, there's an entrance to Hollow Earth in both the South and North Poles. This is why no one is authorized to fly over these poles. Operation High Jump might be related to this as well. Number four, there is an ancient pyramid or pyramids there, and they were flash frozen during cataclysmic events. There's a submerged and lost continent there with I guess what we consider to be pre-civilization artifacts, or it could also be quasi-Atlantis. It really could be Atlantis down there. Number five, there's this is what is down there. That ancient civilization is related to the Anunnaki and the Planet X Nibiru conspiracy theories. Number six, there's an enormous wall of ice blocking us from other lands. This is like the flat Earth model of the universe. And Operation High Jump also might be related to this, and that's kind of what Admiral Byrd was alluding to. That there's vast areas of land there, green land, and maybe that's what he saw. Number seven is pretty much just like number six, that there's an enormous wall of ice, but in this one, it is that ice wall is holding up the dome or the firmament in the flat Earth model.
Holds up the turtle.
No, the turtle holds up the flat Earth. The ice wall holds up the dome over the flat Earth. Get the model correct.
Sorry, I don't have my dome turtle theory.
That's how it works. Number eight, dudes.
Oh, yeah, but what's holding up the turtle, huh?
Land. It walks on land.
Turtle's all the way down.
There you go. Joe's got it.
What did he say?
Turtle's all the way down.
The turtle goes all the way down to the end?
The turtle's on a turtle.
Yeah.
The turtle's not a turtle. Okay. All right.
Look at this turtle.
Number eight, due to a highly elongated orbit of Nibiru, a.k.a. Planet X, its approach can only be seen from the South Pole of Antarctica. This is a potential extinction level event that needs to be suppressed so mass fear and anarchy does not spread. This is related to the return of the Anunnaki, which are rumored to live on Planet X. And when Planet X gets close enough, the Anunnaki pretty much jump off of Planet X and come to Earth. That's the way I envisioned it. Yeah, they do.
We go.
They basically do some bungee jumping.
It's like resupplying at sea. They just attach some lines and some dudes swing across on ropes.
Yeah. Number 9, hundreds of fresh underwater lakes were discovered that were fresh. Underwater lakes were discovered that were isolated for millions of years.
That's just straight true. I'm not sure what's the conspiracy theory about
that there are strange creatures there.
Oh, don't look in them.
For example, like a Russian scientist discovered a highly intelligent giant squid / octopus. They found it. They found out the hard way that this frightening creature could shape change, mimic the shape of divers. It could paralyze their prey up to 150 feet away. Supposedly, they captured one, and it is being secretly weaponized by the Russians. Scientists have also discovered warm caves under Antarctica, which could support secret life, with some caves reaching upwards of 25 degrees Celsius. So there could be a whole ecosystem underneath that ice waiting to be discovered or exploited.
Is there any oil down there? Because if so, oh, man.
Number 10, according to Harry Wexler's theories, Operation Fishbowl, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that. They are manipulating Antarctica's massive generation of cold air in conjunction with HAARP and chemtrails and other weather control and geoengineering methods to weaponize the weather. This is also speculated that Operation Fishbowl is connected to the dome firmament theory. So,
yeah, I thought Fishbowl was the attempt to use a nuclear bomb to break the firmament.
That's where Operation Fishbowl nuclear tests were originally to be completed during the first half of 1962, with 3 tests being bluegill, starfish, and orca, I think. The first test was delayed until June. I'm not sure why. This is what they were just blowing shit up in the sky, right?
Yeah, this is when science didn't have any specific purpose.
It's just fun. Let's just get it up there.
Hey, blow that one up next.
We'll blow it up. We'll worry about it later.
Bigger.
Number 11, the Russian Navy transported the Ark of Gabriel to Antarctica. This ancient relic supposedly were killed. Wait, I'm sorry. This ancient relic weapon was discovered under some kind of mosque in September 12th, 2015. 15 workers supposedly were killed by a burst of energy so powerful that it knocked out a construction crane above that killed an additional 107 people. And so the Russians gobbled this Ark of Gabriel up and transported it to Antarctica for storage.
See if they can break shit down there.
And the last one, number 12, the fallen angels are imprisoned in a mountain in Antarctica and are still alive based upon research of the Forbidden Book of Enoch. Some Nephilim, the giant hybrid offspring of the fallen angels and daughters of men, could also be flash frozen and trapped there too. Buzz Aldrin, after being evacuated from Antarctica, tweeted, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself," along with a photo of the Antarctica pyramid in 2016 before he allegedly deleted the tweet. And that's what I put up there on the screen, and that's what led us down this path. So there's some Antarctica stuff for everyone. It's crazy. I doubt we'll ever know the answer until right before everyone dies.
Question in the Discord from Suitor285 is asking, you had a story a while ago about a guy who traversed the hollow earth and met he was kind of like semi-imprisoned, and there was a machine that he was put to work and whatnot. Yeah. Was that connected to Antarctica or just general hollow earth?
That was part of the Shaver Mysteries. He actually gained entrance to that portion of hollow earth via Arkansas.
Which is right next to Antarctica.
It's connected to hollow earth, but not anywhere. It doesn't really have anything to do with Antarctica.
But he had some sort. Wasn't there like a crazy machine he had access to and stuff down there that like pissed off the the monster leading the underworld, the giant squid fat guy thing.
Yeah, this is like a
I'm paraphrasing.
1920s person trying to articulate advanced technology, and essentially what he had access to was drone technology that could also shoot some form of plasma or some sort of laser beam, and he was able to remotely control this floating eye. That's what he said, floating eye that could see and target and evaporate or disintegrate its target. So some sort of advanced drone technology.
You should aim that at all those damn Nazi squid Russian things under there.
It's more of an explosion. I need more of a zap.
Yeah, don't you have a laser beam somewhere?
I got it right here. Oh, that's not it.
Nope.
There we go.
There you are.
Yeah, that's